So, if you watch my character guides, you know I like to make a little profile of every single character. It features a chart outlining the character's base stats, their skills, weapon in its base and awakened forms, their special attack, and of course, their character picture. Now, with each update, I try to go out of my way to update these profiles, which usually means changing a few skill icons. But when I was going through this, I noticed that apparently Ina got a new change to her picture. She used to look like this, but now she looks like this. There's no reason to bring this up, I just thought this was kind of funny. And yeah, today's video is on someone who's kind of a big fan of Ina. Anyway, let's talk about Shiranui Flare. Flare's weapon, Splash Gun, shoots goop that leaves puddles on the ground. Enemies that walk on these puddles get damaged, and at max level, it basically turns into a spray gun, spraying lots of projectiles at a time, kind of like Iris's Nephilim Blast. This weapon is quite innocuous at first glance, but it's actually quite powerful because of the damage of the puddles. If you can herd enemies to walk through a large stack of puddles, they will die almost instantly. As such, this weapon is one of the best boss killers in the entire game. Also, for some reason, the enemies walking into the puddles can trigger stamp effects, so combining her with the bomb stamp basically allows Flare to set up minefields, which I think is funny. Flare's special attack, Flare Blasters, summons 3 blasters 5 times to blast beams at random enemies, damaging them. It's average as far as special attacks go, but you will be using it quite often for reasons we'll get to later. Flare's simplest skill, Shiranui Construction, makes it so that enemies drop building blocks when they die, and if Flare collects 20 of these, she will negate the next 6 hits of damage and gain a 15% haste boost. It's a nice skill that gives her some survivability, but it doesn't really play into Flare's gameplay loop the way her other skills do. Her next skill, Fire Magic, makes it so that every 10 seconds, Flare will shoot out 6 homing fireballs that will deal damage and potentially burn the nearest enemies. While it may seem like another damaging skill, the reason for this skill's significance comes from her last and most important skill. Her final skill, Elf Song, makes it so that if Flare kills 5 enemies with either a skill or her special attack, all multi-shot weapons and her Fire Magic skill will gain 3 additional projectiles for 10 seconds. Considering how powerful projectiles can be, this skill provides an insane damage boost, and highlights Flare's core gameplay loop. You need to keep proccing Elf Song so that all of your multi-shot collabs will shoot more projectiles. Conveniently, the uptime for Elf Song is the exact same as the time interval in which Flare activates Fire Magic, so as long as you kill enemies with Fire Magic, you should be able to maintain Elf Song. However, given that Fire Magic is her only damaging skill, if it doesn't kill 5 enemies when it fires off, you're not going to get Elf Song. As such, Beetle is almost always a must with Flare as to guarantee kills with Fire Magic. When it fails and Elf Song doesn't reactivate, then your best option is to activate her special attack so as to kill enemies and keep Elf Song going. As such, her special attack serves not as a panic button or a boss killer, but as a failsafe to maintain her main buff. Like I already said, Beetle is a needed item to allow Fire Magic to maintain Elf Song. Outside of that, you'll want to get a bunch of multi-shot weapons and collabs with her. Holy Fire is your best super collab, and I found Snowflower Sake to be pretty decent with her. I also highly recommend Ian Curse, as it's pretty much the strongest weapon to get with Flare, though you shouldn't collab it with anything. All of these weapons will feel absolutely busted with the extra projectiles from Elf Song. In fact, they're so powerful that you may ironically have a hard time maintaining Elf Song. Not because Fire Magic is not strong enough to kill enemies, but because there aren't enough enemies for it to kill. Outside of getting Beetle and multi-shot weapons, I also like getting as many haste boosting items so as to attempt to turn Splash Gun into a hose, but that's more for comedy than actual practical gameplay. So, that's Flare. Thanks for watching. Please let me know who you'd like to see next. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for future videos, and happy holocuring.